The words cut through the laughter like glass. Everyone froze for a half a second, and then the room erupted in cheers. Glasses clinked. Someone shouted, "About time!" I just sat there, watching my brother grin like a man who had just won something. Dad's face was blank, unreadable. But I knew he'd been cornered. I didn't ask questions. I didn't protest. I stood up, excused myself, and walked outside. The night air was cold against my skin. I pulled out my phone and made one call. 10 minutes later, the screaming started. I should explain, this wasn't just a house. It was my father's home, the place he'd built with his own hands before my brother and I were even born. The place Mom took her last breath. When she died, I moved back in to help Dad. My brother didn't. He was too busy building his real estate empire. He'd show up on holidays, all charm and expensive gifts, then vanish again. For years, Dad told me, "Don't worry, the house stays in the family." I believed him. 3 months ago, I started noticing changes. My brother visiting more often. Private conversations between him and Dad in the study. Documents pulled out, then hastily tucked away when I entered the room. One night, I overheard them. Dad's voice low, uncertain. "Are you sure about this?" My brother's firm, almost smug. "Trust me, I'll handle everything." That was the moment I knew he was moving pieces I couldn't yet see. So I started my own quiet investigation. First, I called a friend at the county clerk's office. No sales listing yet, but a quitclaim deed had been drawn up, transferring the house into both my brother's and Dad's names. Equal ownership. It wasn't illegal, but it was a setup, because equal ownership meant either could force a sale. Second, I checked Dad's accounts. Nothing unusual until I noticed a large transfer out 2 weeks earlier. Same day my brother had taken Dad to look at a property. Third, I spoke to Dad, casually, over coffee. "How's the will looking?" He avoided my eyes. "It's all taken care of." That's when I realized it wasn't just about the house. It was about control, and my brother was winning. So I planned, quietly, carefully. If he wanted to play games, I'd finish them before he knew the rules had changed. I called Dad's lawyer, explained the situation. We rewrote the necessary documents, legally, cleanly, so that Dad could revert ownership to himself alone. All he had to do was sign. The signature came easier than I expected. I think, deep down, Dad had been waiting for me to step in. We didn't tell my brother. We didn't need to. We just let him keep thinking he was the smartest man in the room. Which brings us back to Dad's birthday. The dining room was glowing with candlelight, wine flowing, laughter echoing against the old wooden beams. And then my brother stood, glass raised high, and made his announcement. "This house is going up for sale. Dad and I have agreed it's time to move on. Pack your bags, loser," he added, grinning at me. They laughed, cheered, raised their glasses. I smiled, not at him, at the thought of what was about to happen. I stepped outside and called Dad's lawyer. "Do it," I said. 10 minutes later, my brother's phone rang. He answered, and then the screaming started. He stormed outside, face flushed. "What the hell did you do?" I tilted my head. "Me? Nothing. But you might want to check the county records." He was already shaking his head. "It's illegal." "It's binding," I cut in. "Dad signed last month. You're off the title. The house belongs solely to him again." His mouth opened, closed. The perfect salesman suddenly speechless. Inside, I could hear the murmurs. Family members peeking out the window, watching the golden child unravel. "You tricked him," he spat. "No," I said, stepping closer. "I protected him. From you." He tried to recover, to turn it into a joke, but the party was over for him. No more toasts, no more cheers. only whispers he couldn't quite catch. Dad came outside then, standing beside me. "I changed my mind," he said simply. And that was it. Final. My brother left before dessert, didn't even say goodbye. Later that night, Dad and I sat in the living room. The fire crackled. The house felt warmer somehow. "Thank you," he said quietly. I didn't need thanks. All I needed was the look on my brother's face when he realized the game was over before it began. People think revenge is about striking back hard and fast. It's not. It's about patience, about letting someone believe they've already won, right up until the moment they lose everything. And that night, as the laughter returned to the house, I knew one thing for certain. You don't get to throw me out of my own family's home, not while I'm still here to answer the door.